Hi, welcome to Sunday School today. We hope you're having a great summer holiday so far. I'm Joanna.
And I'm Gavin. It's proper summer today. The sun is out, it's warm, it's lovely. Today in Sunday School we are going to be looking again at Luke chapter 9. We're moving through the verses. But today, as we start, I wonder, does this ever happen to you or in your house? Let's have a look.
Right, Bob the Bird, I've had just about enough of you. It's time we figured out once and for all who is the best. Now, listen up. I am definitely the best because as you can see, my hair is yellow. And everybody knows yellow is the best.
No way! Yellow hair is rubbish. I have got far better hair than you do. My hair is not only blue, but it is spiky uppy. And spiky uppy blue hair is definitely better than you. So I am the best, and I have got a super long neck. And everyone knows that people, or birds, with super long hair are better than everyone else.
What? You're having a laugh. Well, here, how about this then? I have been on the YouTube, like, quite a lot, actually. Maybe not every week, but quite a lot. And I've been, like, all over the computer and stuff. And where have you shown up?
Well, when they are in need, they are called on the best. And not only that, but I have got a much better voice than you because I can speak, but also I can squeak like this at the same time as speaking, and that is definitely means I is the best.
What? You can speak and you can squeak.
Yes.
Aye, you can certainly squeak. Well, how about this then? Right. I have got lots of pals at the church. There's like all the wee boys and the wee girls and even some of the older ones. They're my pals. Where's your pals?
Don't you worry. I have got lots of pals, and I can run fast, and I have wings that I can flap, which is by far the best. So I am the best.
Oh, well, I just think that's just...
Oh no! It looks like Lucy and our new friend Bob are having a terrible argument. Now I asked you, does it ever happen to you? That sort of argument. Now, it might not be exactly like that, but I think we all do have those times. Bob and Lucy were arguing saying, I'm great, I'm the best. You might not say that exactly, but sometimes you might say, it's mine, so keep your hands off. Or, I should get to go first before you. Or, I want the biggest bit of cake.
Well, all these things show us, and we're all like that actually we're thinking only about ourselves, that we think we are more important than anyone else around us. We ought to be number one. We ought to get our needs met. We ought to get what we want, and we're more important. And so it shows the attitudes of our hearts towards ourselves and towards others. And so the same thing happens in a bit of the Bible that I'm just going to read for you just now. So we're in Luke chapter 9, verse 46. And let's listen in to see if we can see any similarities between the disciples and Bob and Lucy. An argument arose among them as to which of them was the greatest. But Jesus, knowing the reasoning of their hearts, took a child and put him by his side, and said to them all, whoever receives this child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For he who is least among all of you is the one who is great.
See what you mean, Joanna? Those disciples were saying that they were the best, but they've forgotten or not realised something. And last week on the video, loads of you were a great help in reminding us of all the things that Jesus did or that happened that show that he is God's son. He's the chosen one, sent by God to be the rescuer. So to help us today, we need to look at what happens just before that argument of the disciples. So get your Bibles again. We're still in Luke chapter 9, but we're going back now to verse 37. Let's read what happens just before that argument. On the next day, when they come down from the mountain, a great crowd met him. And behold, a man from the crowd cried out, "Teacher, I beg you to look at my son, for he's my only child. And behold, a spirit seizes him, and he suddenly cries out. It convulses him, so that he foams at the mouth, and shatters him, and will hardly leave him. And I begged your disciples to cast it out, but they could not." Jesus answered, "O faithless and twisted generation, how long am I to be with you and bear with you? Bring your son here." While he was coming, the demon threw him to the ground and convulsed him. But Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit and healed the boy and gave him back to his father. And all were astonished at the majesty of God. But while they were all marveling at everything he was doing, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let these words sink into your ears. The Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men." But they did not understand this saying, and it was concealed from them so they might not perceive it. And they were afraid to ask him about this saying.
Right, so wow, we see just before the disciples started to argue amongst themselves, Jesus had showed yet again that he was the Son of God, that he could do amazing things, that he was number one. And he warned them that he had to be captured and suffer. And they're over there busy arguing about which one of them is going to be the best, is going to be the greatest, is the most important. And here we see Jesus, who is the most important, about to be captured and give himself up. So they really don't get the point. They're missing it altogether. A wee example of what that might be like is, can you imagine if we had a sign here that says, "Get £100 just by asking Gavin." Gavin's right there. So £100. Think of all the most amazing things I could do with £100. But wait a minute. Look at the poster. It's a bit rubbish. It doesn't exactly catch my attention, does it? I mean, if I was trying to get attention to get £100, give them away, I would think, well, maybe some stars, or maybe some flashy lights, or maybe a bigger poster, or at least different words and colours. And I think I'm missing the point, am I? Because Gavin's right there, and really, I shouldn't be worried about the poster and how it looks. I should be worried to ask Gavin for my £100 and go off and spend it. So, in a similar sort of way, we see that Jesus' friends, the disciples, were clearly missing the point of who he was and how important he was, and the fact that he was God. He was in charge. Just like I'm missing the point to get my £100. I'm so busy worried about a silly poster.
Yeah, and don't bother phoning or texting or emailing. I'm not going to give you £100. But we know and we can see that Jesus is the greatest, the most important. So he doesn't need to argue about that. But as the greatest and most important, what does he do? Does he walk around on a lovely red carpet? Does he have a band that follow him and play his favourite tunes wherever he goes? No, he doesn't. Let's have a look at an example of something Jesus does. This is so great. We are to show what Jesus did, and he is the greatest and the best. So we've got a bucket and a sponge. So which one of us is going to get our feet washed first?
No, Bob, you've got it wrong. You see, the point is that Jesus looked after his friends by washing their feet, even though he was the most important. So if we want to be like him, I'm afraid it's us that have to wash their feet.
Oh no, I can't do that. It's like minging. It's disgusting. Look at the smell. It's smelling. It's honking. This is disgusting. I thought Jesus would be the one getting it done.
Oh, it really stinks. It really stinks. I suppose is just what we have to do, but, I mean, it's Gavin's feet. It really, really stinks.
So this is what Jesus did as the greatest.
That's what the Bible tells us. That even though he was the best, he became like a servant and washed his friends' stinky, sandy feet.
Alright, that doesn't sound good at all.
That looked super gross. But the most amazing thing is we read in the Bible that Jesus did do that for his friends. He did act like the servant and wash their stinky feet. And you know, he did them a more amazing thing than that. He died on the cross for his friends and for us. He took the punishment. Dying on a cross was a punishment. Even though Jesus had done nothing wrong, he didn't deserve any punishment. He took the punishment that we deserve, and he took it for us. And it's so great that he did that for us.
Absolutely. It's totally amazing that he was great enough to do it, and great that he did do it. But quickly back to the Bible bit where the disciples argued, where we started this morning. Now, you might have noticed that it said that Jesus had a child beside him. And he said, whoever receives the child receives me. Now, at that time, children were seen as not very important. They were put away. They were not going to be involved in everything. So Jesus was saying, if you think you're too important for a child, then you'll think you're too important for me. But if you're able to welcome a child, you can welcome me. And that shows that it's not about us being important, but recognizing the importance of Jesus. Let's just go back to Lucy and Bob. I think they want to say something before we go.
I'm sorry we argued, Bob, about who is the greatest.
That's alright. I know it was silly from me as well.
It's really great that you've come to join in with us. I do want you to be here, really.
Oh, thanks so much, Lucy. I hope we can have loads of fun together over the next few weeks and have lots of fun when hopefully we can see all the boys and girls again properly soon as well. So, no worries, I'm sorry too.
Great.
Okay, we'll see you another week, boys and girls.
Bye.
So, out of all of this, we need to remember that Jesus is the King. He is the most important. We get to be his followers. We get to be his family. We are not in charge. And you know, guys, we have to remember that at the very beginning, that was the biggest problem. That when God made us, we wanted to be our own boss, and it all went wrong. But we were made for God to be the boss, for Jesus to be the King, and actually, that is when everything is at its best. We were made for him, to enjoy him. So, your challenge is, at home, get your Bibles and read together with your families Luke chapter 9, verses 57 to 62. And have a bit of a chat about the cost of following Jesus, how hard it can be to follow Jesus, and see how that goes for you.
Great, thanks for joining us this week. Hope you have a great week coming up, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.